Alright, so last video that I uploaded on the channel had abruptly and subtly ended because I ran out of storage on this tablet and that's why I couldn't continue. That's one on one hand. And on the other hand, the phone was on the charger and I couldn't use the phone so that I can record or film the 11th video for the challenge that I undertook at the beginning of this month. Um and that's why the yesterday's video, the video that I typically uploaded, that I really uploaded, essentially uploaded at the beginning of this day. That's a bad fly, annoying fly, troublesome fly. Anyways, I'm not gonna be chasing the fly, even though it's so annoying and it's just so irritating to have a fly around that is so clingy. Basically, when you whoosh it away, it's just gonna come back sticking at you. But we're not gonna talk about the fly today. So I actually tried. I'm gonna be swatting it. Like I hate swatting flies, and I hate swatting insects. Anyways, I said we're not gonna be talking about the fly. I said this conversation isn't gonna be centered round about the fly. So today I actually went to college and there was one of the classes was canceled. It's for a professor from Mexico called Javier. I told you before, if you remember it. Nobody watch. Nobody watches these videos. I'm talking to me in the future. I'm talking to me in the future. So Mahmoud, you were actually enrolled in the Spanish literature department in the University of Finland, in the Faculty of Arts. For your information, because you will probably have forgotten by the time you are watching this video. So I remind you that you were in the Spanish literature division in the Spanish literature department in the Faculty of Arts, and you had foreign professors, and one of them was called Javier. And Javier, something typical with Javier is that he cancels a lot of classes. Ever since the beginning of this semester, which started on the 20th of September, and today is the 13th of November, I have only seen Javier twice up until now. Like ever since the beginning of this semester up until now, I have only attended two classes. I have only attended two lectures for Javier. And essentially, he didn't give a lot of classes, he didn't give a lot of lectures. He canceled most of the lectures. And the thing is that even in his lectures, he doesn't really give you that much of information. It doesn't really. I'm not talking about like that he's superficial or anything. But the thing is, like, he gives us conversation classes, and in those classes, he's the only one talking. It's a one-sided monologue. It's only like it's basically a monologue. It's not a dialogue. It's supposed to go between the students and the teacher. There has to be some kind of a level of interactivity, but most of the time, like 95% of the time, it's one-sided. The whole conversation is only one-sided. There isn't a dialogue that's going between the students and the teacher. The students ask something and the teacher answers, or the teacher asks and vice versa. It's not as reciprocal. It's not reciprocal at all. And you probably have seen the fly like sneaking a little bit and then going out of the frame. Anyways, that was out of context. Again, I am so random. So basically 95%, because I want to be consistent, 95% of the time the classes are only centered round about Javier. He doesn't, and what he typically does is that he gets into the class. He's gonna talk about something. He picks some certain topic that he's gonna be basically talking about throughout the class, and he's gonna write 10. He basically writes 10 words that he thinks we don't know, and then he goes into explaining what these words mean. And in the class that I attended, last class that I attended, what he did was that he basically wrote those 10 words and he explained them, and then he told us to write examples with these words, or like not with these words but for these words, to make sure that we understood what these words mean. So one of the things I understood that he was, because he said like write example sentences in Spanish. He said escribe ejemplos para esas palabras, which basically translates to in English, write sentence example sentences for these words, which I basically understood as I want you to employ these words in a couple of sentences, that just employ these words, use these words in sentences. And that's what I thought, and that's what I guess a lot of people thought. But then he like that was I never thought that this sentence could be as ambiguous and has multiple meanings. So he said, clarifying after seeing the paper that in which I wrote the example sentences, in which I used the words that he wrote on the whiteboard. He's like, nah, 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 nah. That's not what I wanted. He was like, no, 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 look, no, lo que quería. He's like, no, lo que quería. He's from Mexico. He doesn't feel like that. So, but this is my accent in Spanish. I'm not flexing. I am a little bit flexy. I might be flexing right now because I know Spanish. It's one of the cool languages. But I think it's not something. I was speaking with one of my friends the other day, and I was like telling them, because I was speaking Spanish all of a sudden, and that they were like they were telling me that I'm flexing, but I was like, what? I'm not flexing with Spanish. Spanish is not a language that you can flex with. If I want to flex, I would be something like,你好，我会说一点儿中文和一点儿西班牙语. Like this is what flexing is like, right? But I'm not flexing. I'm not flexing. I swear to God, I'm not flexing. I'm just clarifying. I'm exemplifying. I'm just giving an example to of what I did basically. That was a precedent. A precedent. What is it called? A precedence. A precedence. A precedent. A precedent. It was a precedent. That was a precedent. That was an example. To just tell you what I did, because this is typically what I did. I was like telling them, if I want to flex, I would go with a little bit of with a little bit of Chinese that I accumulated after studying Chinese for a year. That is what I can flex with, because not a lot of people can speak Chinese. Not a lot of people go for learning Chinese. So flexing would be much more effective in this context. It would be much more meaningful. It would be much more flexy, so to speak. But if you are going to talk about Spanish, they themselves could speak a little bit of Spanish. They themselves studied a little bit of Spanish. So flexing wouldn't mean anything, right? Like if you want to flex about something, it has to be either something that you're really really good at, which is not the case for me with Spanish. And the other people might be a little bit like at a beginning stage, or don't have the same level of proficiency and excellency in whatever you excel in, or that you know a little bit of something, and you know that the people around you, the people that you want to be flexing in front of, the people that you want to be, I don't know, bragging about what you have in front of, shall have no expertise with this thing. If you are a complete noob and you want to be flexing in front of them, because if they are noobs, they are going to understand a little bit, the little bit of the thing that you want to flex about. This conversation just took a weird route, and I didn't expect that I'm going to be talking about flexing. I thought that I'm going to be talking about the thing that I did today, which is basically connecting my tablet to the computer and using it as a webcam, which was a good, fantastic experience. But maybe that is a conversation for another day. Maybe I'm gonna be talking about that tomorrow. I never talk about the things. I never talk about the things that I postpone. I never talk about the things that I said I would talk about. So probably this is one of those topics that will never be brought up again. Probably this is one of the topics that will be dumped into the basket, into the garbage basket, into the bin, and will never be brought up again. It's gonna be one of those that got murdered and forgot long forgotten, and they will never be resurrected. Anyways, I wanted to flex at the end there. I just wanted to show how fluent, and I just wanted to show how poetic I could sound sometimes. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this video, and I am gonna be seeing you tomorrow. All right, thank you.